Greetings humans and welcome to my channel. In today's episode, you'll hear the story of the Amroha murder case that shook the entire nation of India. It was a story of love, betrayal and brutality that ultimately culminated in the death of 7 innocent people. Shabnam, the antagonist of the tragic tale, was the first woman who could be hanged to death in India. The story began in the small town of Amroha, where Shabnam lived with her family. Shabnam was in love with a man named Salim, and they were planning to get married. However, Shabnam's family was against their union, and this led to a gruesome plot that would change the course of their lives forever. Meanwhile, Shabnam had gotten pregnant by Salim, and she knew her family would be furious if they ever found out. She went to bed on the night of April 15, 2008, wondering how she would take care of her peculiar situation. Around 2 a.m. on the morning of April 16, 2008, neighbors woke up to cries coming from the home Shabnam shared with her family. They rushed to the home and discovered a horrific scene. They found Shabnam lying unconscious on the floor. Near her body was that of her father, whose neck has been slashed open. Nearby were the bodies of her mother, 2 brothers, sister-in-law, her cousin, and her baby nephew. They all have their necks cut in similar manner to her dad, except for the baby nephew that appeared to have been strangulated. The neighbors quickly called the police and took the unconscious Shabnam to the hospital. On interrogation by the police, her stories were not quite lining up. They also discovered she was pregnant. Before the incident, the dead sister-in-law had the presence of mind to tip off the police about the tense atmosphere at home as a result of Shabnam's relationship with Salim. Now, Shabnam and Salim belong to different castes in India. Usually, families would prefer that their children marry someone within their communities. So, when Shabnam and Salim started their relationship, the families were not too happy about it. It was said that her father would often beat her when Salim comes to visit. As police dug into the case, they uncovered evidence that pointed to Shabnam and Salim's involvement in the crime. They found that Shabnam had helped Salim in carrying out the murders. The police also discovered that Shabnam had given sedative-laced milk to her family members, which had made them unconscious before they were hacked to death. They found incriminating evidence including bloodstains on her clothes and the weapon used in the murders, which was traced back to Salim. Moreover, Shabnam's nephew was found to have died of strangulation, indicating that the crime was premeditated and not just an act of defense. All these pieces of evidence made the police certain that Shabnam and Salim were the culprits. Finally, the police arrested a couple on April 19, 2008, 5 days after the murders. During the interrogation, they confessed to the crime and provided details about how they had planned and carried out the murders. When police arrested Shabnam, she was 7 weeks pregnant. In December 2008, she gave birth to a boy. She was then charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The case was heard in the District and Sessions Court, where the 2 were sentenced to death on July 14, 2010. Shabnam and Salim challenged the verdict in the Allahabad High Court, but the death penalty was upheld. They then took their case to the Supreme Court, but the death sentence was upheld in 2015. Shabnam had exhausted all legal alternatives, and her fate now lies in the hands of the president of the country. She submitted a mercy petition before the then President Pranab Mukherjee, hoping to avoid the death penalty. However, her petition was denied. As the news of Shabnam's case spread throughout the country, it became a subject of national debate. Many people were outraged at the heinous crime she had committed, while others expressed sympathy for her situation. Some argued that Shabnam had been driven to commit the murders because of the social and cultural restrictions placed upon her. They pointed out that she had fallen in love with Salim, a man from a different religion, and that her family had opposed their union. They also argued that this had pushed Shabnam to take extreme measures. Others, however, felt that there could be no excuse for such a brutal and senseless crime. They argued that Shabnam and Salim had plotted the murder carefully and had even involved a young child in their plan. They believed that the two should be punished severely for their actions. As the legal process continued, Shabnam and Salim were kept in separate jails. While Salim had accepted his guilt and was remorseful, Shabnam maintained her innocence. She continued to claim that she was not involved in the murders and that she has been framed by Salim. Despite her protest, the courts found Shabnam guilty of the crime and her mercy petition was denied. She was scheduled to be hanged in February of 2021, but her execution was delayed because of a technicality in the law. As the debate continues, Shabnam remains in jail as at the end of 2022, waiting for her fate to be decided. Until next time, humans, stay safe out there.